The woman took off her expensive watch on her wrist and replaced her diamond-studded high heels and replaced them with 3 pairs of 10 yuan flip-flops and then let her assistant step on them twice. The reason why she did this is because she is running for election, to show that she is thrifty and down to earth. When she went to the street to canvass, she also said whatever she wanted to, and to ghosts, she said human words. She said Amitabha to nuns. And to monks, she said hallelujah. When seeing middle-aged women, she said she would find her a handsome appa. Damn it. She can adapt her dress to the occasion. On the surface, she calls them seniors with a wide smile, but roll her eyes behind her back. Why don't you die, you old man? Ha ha ha. Even when I met the sweeper on my way home at night, she still pretends to be considerate. When I run for election, I'll definitely give you a raise. Then, in order to establish a family harmony, she also showed affection to her husband in front of neighbors. She said she was going to play badminton, but she turned back because she forgot her sneakers. And turned around and went back. But with Mylan's current status, how could she live in such a dilapidated community? This old and dilapidated house, it's just a facade for his honest image. When they got home, the couple immediately got fully dressed, climbed from the rooftop to another building, and assistant Hao Shawai was already waiting downstairs. He took them to a luxurious villa. And this is their real home. This guy has really given you a hard time to become a public servant. It's not easy. Because at home, they often discuss some secret things. So they hired a foreign nanny, who is also deaf and mute.
일 잘하니까 월급 한 50 올려줘.
50? 그돈 좀 잘 줘.
Seeing that the nanny didn't respond, Mylan was completely relieved. She's really cautious. Mylan not only focuses on the people, but also his competitors. On a political program, the opponent asked questions about finance. He not only avoided the important questions, but also used some sensitive topics to anger his opponent. The director, who had been bribed by him, quickly cooperated to switch the camera and directly filmed the opponent's face. When the camera was on him, he even looked aggrieved. I donated all my savings to per students. All my property, only a small apartment of 20 square meters, and choked up a couple of times, which left his opponent confused. However, at night, the two opponents who were still at odds on the show were drinking in a private room again. It turned out that this was already planned by them. They were just acting on the show. To thank them for their cooperation on the show, Mylan gave them some stock insider information, guaranteeing that they could live in a mansion within a month and drive luxury cars, but they didn't know that. Were all recorded by the camera behind the tiger's eyes. Fortunately, when the waiter was dealing with the paparazzi, was discovered by his assistant Hao Shawai. Hao Shawai ran after them and chased after the paparazzi. Hao Shawai quickly took out his phone to take a license plate, but the camera was in selfie mode. You should stop being narcissistic. Now it's a disaster. Ha ha ha. Knowing that her dirty affair was secretly filmed, Mylan's face was filled with sadness. She lost her mood for canvassing. Fortunately, his good friend was helpful and found the paparazzi and deliberately had a car accident with him and exchanged it for the evidence with a BMW Mini. Knowing the crisis was over, Mylan was so happy. She wanted to carry her friend into the bridal chamber to thank him. Ha ha ha! In the middle of the night, Mylan and her husband were sleeping soundly when suddenly she received a phone call, and then she hurried to a farmhouse in the mountains. Inside the room, there was an old man lying. As Mylan approached, the old man slapped her. It turned out that the old man was Mylan's grandmother. In the last election, diagnosed with cancer, and Mylan wanted to win votes, so she packaged her as a philanthropist who just passed away. Aha! She donated all her belongings to the school before her death. As the descendant of a philanthropist, she will also inherit her grandmother's will and contribute to society wholeheartedly. To prevent the lie from being exposed, she hid her in the uninhabited mountains. So every time Grandma saw him, she would kindly stick out two middle fingers and praised him for being great. This. Grandma said a ski resort will be built nearby. The landlord asked her to move out. Okay, we'll find you a warm and beautiful scenery. seeing her formerly kind and innocent granddaughter has now become a liar. Grandma was very sad. So after they left, she put out all the big and small Buddha statues out. She prayed to God to make her granddaughter kind and stop talking nonsense. Mylin's shoes were damaged by the rain. While Hao Shuai went to the car to get her shoes, she saw a pile of stones, so she also made a wish to the stone pile, praying for the Monkey King Sun Wukong to bless her. Her campaign would be as smooth as the journey to the west. Ha ha ha. After both of them finished making wishes, a lightning and thunder struck down, which directly collapsed the stone pile. There was no Monkey King jumping out of the stone pile, but many fireflies flew out, which scared Mylin a lot. What did you split the Monkey King? Ha ha ha. The next day, Mylin woke up. Her husband said his mother would visit today, but he asked what the old woman was doing here. Her husband almost choked on her words. He thought he had heard it wrong. What did you just say? When participating in a live program, the host asked him if he was nervous. He said it's not like he's running for president. Why should I be nervous? Ha ha ha. Seeing that he was so bold, he asked some more explosive questions. Unexpectedly, Mylin not only answered every question, but also made some jokes, which shocked the audience watching the show. The screen was full of people saying 666. After the show, the couple quarreled in the car because of the show. Xiao Shuai tried to smooth things over. The boss might be a legislator. She's been too tired recently. What boss? Just a parasite.
백수! 너 나를 정말 그렇게밖에 안 봤냐?
Because of his lewd remarks on the show, he directly became a hot search. He wanted to use his new book launch to clean up his image, but when the reporter asked why his book was so popular, his mouth started to open again. Everything was bought by myself. Ha ha ha. The reporter asked how long it took to write the book.
그거는 제가 안 쓰고 대필이 다 깔아썼어요. 적자를
He didn't get on the previous hot search, and now he's on the trending list again. Now his assistant Hao Shuai is also broken. No matter how good the assistant is, can't handle a teammate like you. I don't want to either, but I can't control my mouth. Is it true that you said you would buy me a new car? Is it true? Chinese team. Ha ha ha. When I returned to the villa at night and saw that my mother-in-law had already arrived, Mylin's big mouth couldn't hold back again. Why did you come here, you old hag? The mother-in-law was also confused. What did you say, you little bitch? Mylin was afraid of saying something worse, so she planned to go upstairs and leave. I'm not unreasonable. If you have any dissatisfaction with me, let's have a good talk tonight. This is what you said. 2 hours later, the mother-in-law walked out of the door trembling, while Mylin in the room.
당분간 안 오시겠다고. 너무 좋아. 너무 좋아.
In order to let their broken mouth come to the door, they began to think of various ways. Went to see a psychiatrist. Mylin thought the doctor talked too slowly and directly scolded the psychiatrist. Then she went to a Chinese medicine doctor for acupuncture. She told me I was too. You are stupid. Your whole family is stupid. Scientific treatment didn't work, so we can only something supernatural. So she found to shaman. While dancing, one of the shamans started crying. My big basket. Why did your tongue have a stroke? Mylin thought it was her mother, but the shaman said she was her grandmother. Die in the body. If my grandma wasn't alive, I almost believed it. Ha ha ha. Just when Mylin was desperate, Xiao Shuai suddenly thought of someone. The political advisor Lao Wang. He is a legendary figure in the previous generation who helped countless politicians reach the peak. Hao Shui worshipped Lao Wang as a master. Such a great gift, which made Lao Wang feel embarrassed. As a master, he naturally had to put on airs. Tell me, among the two people running for office with you, you're the one with the most problems. Why should I help you? No one else will help you, right? Ha ha ha, you're just telling the truth. I have to say, Lao Wang really has some skills. He first used his Ren and Du meridians to gain some popularity for Mylin. Mylin doesn't need to say much, and just use some body movements to liven up the atmosphere. Then he exposed some of his opponent's scandals to reduce the opponent's support rate. Then he distributed Mylin's flyers on the street to maximize his popularity. During the canvassing, he also asked him to choose some good real events to expose the loopholes in his broken mouth. But his opponent was not to be outdone. They turned around and used his son's dual nationality and went to the US to avoid military service. At this point, Mylin had no choice, but she could only bring her son back from America. For fear of saying something inappropriate at the press conference, he soaked himself in ice water the night before to avoid gaffes at the press conference and passed out. With a series of operations, his ranking did indeed steadily improve. But the good times didn't last long because his competitors also found out his mouth problem. They deliberately went to his campaign site to spoil it. Mylin really told the truth. Even the assistant Hao Shawai couldn't control it. He could only shout that there was a bomb to defuse the crisis. But surprisingly, his recent videos of telling the truth, after being widely spread on the internet, he became a well-known celebrity. The masses not only didn't dislike him, but think he is straightforward and truthful. And his votes increased rapidly. How can I complain about this? Lao Wang saw this as a good opportunity. He took advantage of the situation. He was directly labeled as the most honest candidate and let him avoid the important and focus on the minor. To be honest, he avoided serious issues during the live debate. His opponents were also confused by his unconventional moves and made him confused. If he couldn't argue, he would use the excuse of going to the bathroom. But when he was close to success, a reporter suddenly exposed on the internet he used his grandmother's name to establish a college student subsidy foundation and raised 150 billion yuan. The grandmother, who was not dead, was furious. She dressed up as a garbage collector and came to the unit to find him. Of course, the middle finger greeting is essential. Ha ha ha, you little bitch. You said I was dead, that's fine. Why did you make me die without closing my eyes? Why did you use my name to collect money? Didn't your mother give you a name? Ha ha ha. In fact, Mylin really didn't know about this. It was all done by his best friend. The money was all swallowed by his buddy. Mylin didn't even get a penny. After learning about the situation, Grandma didn't argue with him anymore and told him the reason why he couldn't lie. Mylin was shocked after learning about it. You old hag. Why are you so wicked? You even cheated on your own granddaughter. How could I know that thing is so? I've prayed a lot, but it never worked. Ha ha ha, there's no way. The two had to come to the stone pile to make a wish. Amitabha, Kishan Dashing, Hallelujah, and Heavenly Bodhisattva. I was wrong, please forgive me. I will definitely make Zuantan into the best city in South Korea. But that's impossible. You've told the truth. Can the gods let you go? Ha ha ha. Not only did they not let him go, but it was also seen by Wang, who followed secretly. Wang saw that Grandma was still alive. He defected to the second opponent's camp. Mylin asked him why. We have different paths. I can't forgive someone who uses the life of his relative to seek a better future. However, at this moment, Grandma was really sick, and it was cancer. Mylin came to her grandma's ward in tears. This time, Grandma didn't despise him anymore, but instead encouraged Grandma. I believe in you. You will become an excellent politician. Come on, I just came out of the hospital and met my friend. But unexpectedly, his old friend betrayed him, thinking he was hopeless. Uncle turned against him and planned to support the second rival, and said he would expose the fact that his grandma was alive. This shamelessness, which made Mylin tell a lie. Who said my grandma wasn't dead? As soon as she finished speaking, Mylin found something was wrong. She became normal and could lie. She quickly found her husband and excitedly shared the good news with him. But her husband was not happy with her because Grandma had just passed away. Poor Grandma. She couldn't even have a photo of herself at the funeral. At this time, the number 2 rival came to make trouble. He insisted on confirming whether Grandma was lying in the coffin. In order not to disturb Grandma, Mylin had to announce her withdrawal from the election and prepare to surrender herself and personally expose her crime. Xiao Shuai found I know the paparazzi. You have backups of all the photos you took. Take it out. Hao Shui took out a watch worth over 100 million and exchanged it for the video of the night. And also stole the paparazzi's car keys. Unexpectedly, as he was about to leave, Lao Tai's men hit him with a car accident. It was Lao Wang. He thought Mylin wouldn't give up easily, asking number 2 if he had any dirt on Mylin. Number 2's ass tightened. There was. So he quickly asked his friend to send someone to stop him. Fortunately, Hao Shui got hot-headed, got into the paparazzi's car, and escaped. But the opponent found out. How could he give up easily? Just as Hao Shuai handed the USB drive to Mylin, Lao Wang chased after him, then one was running ahead and the other chasing after. You are crazy. What are you doing? You traitor. What are you doing? Ha ha ha. Mylin called her husband for support while running away. Finally, the 2 groups met in an alley. Unexpectedly, at the critical moment, your husband was useful. With the cover of her husband and Hao Shuai, Mylin escaped from the siege of Laodi and Laoing, the encirclement of the 2 traitors. She quickly took a taxi and found the reporter who exposed her. Take it as a reward for your help in restoring my conscience. But unexpectedly, the candid photographer took the wrong USB drive. It wasn't his dirt at all, but the black stuff of the number 2 opponent. Like visiting brothels, peeing on the street, and peeping at female colleagues' skirts. Even his best friend's dirt was in it. Now, the mistake of the candid photographer helped Mylin take the blame for her opponent. But Mylin didn't take the opportunity to campaign, because now he has a conscience, so she chose to turn herself in. After all these, the least likely female MP number 3 to get a big advantage. 2 years later, Mylin was released from prison. By the way, those you can get out in 2 years. Did you not confess everything? Ha ha ha. After being released, she not only wrote a book herself, but also prepared to run for mayor of Seoul. But her husband and son, who had lived a hard life, thought her mouth was unreliable. So when he attended the election meeting, they also put on a few little monks and started chanting. This movie is called The Honest Candidate. It's a comedy that's just for fun. The theme of not lying is quite interesting. However, I have a question. Is South Korea's political scene really so open? Can you still continue to be a politician after serving time? If anyone knows, please leave a comment.